I always start the word brothers and sisters. And firstly, I would like to say thank you. You give me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. And then also, there's those people who have to materialize this function. So I very much appreciate. Thank you. Then that flower, I think, although you see the form of welcoming and expression of warm-heartedness, but actually it is too heavy. It really is put on my neck. I may fall. So now, wherever I meet people, I always have the feeling we are same. We are same human being. As a matter of fact, 7 billion human beings, the same. The way we born, the way we die, we are same. And actually, I think all entire 7 billion human beings, mentally, emotionally, and physically also, we are same. The most important, from birth, everyone wants happy life, joyful life, do not want problem, suffering. And then more important, now some scientists say, through their sort of investigation, experiment, they say basic human nature is more compassionate. When I heard that, I really feel, oh, now there is a real hope. Basic human nature is more compassionate. If basic human nature is anger, there's not much hope. Obviously, as soon as we're born, naturally, they say we trust our mother. And the mother also take care of us. As a mother, parent in general, particularly mother, provide us sort of immense sort of love. Some scientists say after birth, the mother's physical touch, the young child, is a crucial factor for proper enlargement about brain. Obviously, those children who received as a maximum affection from their mother, the rest of their life, in deep insight, more happier and less sort of fear like that. Those children who received lacking about human mother's affection, then whole life, in deep insight, no matter how successful outwardly, deep inside, some sense of insecurity. So, our life started that way. And then, medical scientists, they say, constant fear, constant anger, actually eating our immune system. Whereas people who keep more compassionate feeling, they are physical much healthier. So this shows, even I think a person who the very day will die, still surrounded by friends, trusted friend, but full of love, much happier. Money, big name, not much help. Love. So our life, from beginning till our death, love or affection is key factor. And then we are, first, of course, we are a social animal. Any social animal, mentally, this is some factor which bring together. That's affection, love. Even other social animal, you see, they have, although compared with human being, much limited, but still they also have this sort of ability bring together. So now, from birth, you see, we have this sort of, because of the capacities or this quality. It is something very important. Now it is, I think, important to remind this importance, because our life very much in the atmosphere of materialistic culture, materialistic life. There's not much talk about this inner value. We always talk money, power, and these things. So because we neglect about this inner value, around 7 billion, among 7 billion human beings, besides nature, suffering from nature disaster, a lot of problem, essentially our own creation, including violence, our own creation, and the gap, rich and poor, too much exploitation, bullying, cheating, all these our own creation. Lack of sense of concern of others' well-being, respect their right, their life. We are lacking that. Just think, me, myself. Self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude is the basis of jealousy. Competition or distrust, all these, and fear. More self-centered attitude, then fear comes. Fear brings irritation. Irritation creates anger. Anger creates violence. So that is now, today, I think, east, west, north, south, everywhere. I think man-made problem everywhere. If today's situation continuously go, I think this 21st century also can be similar 20th century's sort of situation. A lot of violence. In 20th century, over 200 human beings killed. 200 millions of people killed through violence. Immense violence, immense suffering. Really, produce better world? No. So therefore, now, every sensible human being must think the situation, the 20th century sort of situation should not repeat now, 21st century. How? Through prayer? No. through puja? No. I think we Tibetan in 40s, 50s, a lot of puja, but nothing happened. So action. Action makes differences. Action with sincere motivation and vision. Vision. So now here, this 21st century, so now, since a lot of man-made problem we are facing, now how to reduce that entirely depend on ourselves. So then I always see telling people with my sort of observations where the existing modern education system not adequate to bring more kasuda, more peaceful or happy human being. Because modern education very much oriented about material value. Not much talk about our inner value. When inner value, about the matter, inner value comes, we usually rely on religious belief. Then religion, now today, out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion non-believer. And the remaining 6 billion supposed believer. But in real day-to-day life, most of them are educated with materialistic education. So these religious people also not seriously follow their faith. If you faith, if you follow sincerely, you see, these different traditions. Basically, all major world religious traditions have same message. Message of love, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. So all major world religious traditions all have same potential to create better human being, compassionate human being. But we are not very seriously follow the real message of one's own religion. So therefore, now only hope is through education. I think we must educate people from kindergarten up to university level. Besides education, more or less oriented about material value, plus education, how to tackle our emotion, how to bring inner peace. Inner peace, you see, firstly we have to investigate what is the destroyer of inner peace. Anger. Outside condition, of course, some extent, some sort of influence, some impact, but main sort of the main source to create kasuda, restlessness here in mind, come from mind itself. So therefore, now in education should include some education about system of our emotion. I usually use it describing. In education, we also sort of educate on subject we call hygiene of physical. So then why not? We should include hygiene of emotion. For that, you need some knowledge about the whole system of our emotion. With fuller knowledge about the system of emotion, then we become better positioned to tackle these destructive emotions. Not necessarily be religious person. Simply use our intelligence. As I mentioned earlier, basic human nature is more compassionate. That's basis. Now, our brilliant human brain should utilize to strengthening that basic human value. So now here, you see the basic human value, warm-heartedness, compassionate, brings inner peace. And with combine our intelligence, when we come across some problem, usually we look only that problem side, negative side, then frustration, anger come. Now here, our intelligence have great role. So one problem come, look from wider perspective and different dimension way, different dimension. The things are relative. So if something really you feel frustration, you angry, look from different angle. Oh, that same event may bring some positive things, or maybe some good aspect. If you look from wider perspective at different angle, then the intensity of irritation reduces. So here, the warm-heartedness alone cannot do that with the help of human intelligence. Then also far-sightedness, rare. Today you develop anger. But then think, if this anger keeps, what use, what benefit after 1 year or few years? Today, you say, your so-called your enemy. If we deal properly, reasonably, today's enemy next year may become a very good friend. So keeping in our mind this intelligence, no more far-sighted and more holistic way, then we can easily counter our anger, these things. And then plus, now scientists, as I mentioned earlier, say the anger very bad for our health. And sometimes I jokingly was telling, particularly ladies, you know, the lady is make some beauty, cosmetic, with good look, but angry face, nobody love. So real beauty is inner beauty. I think 50 years ago, 50 years ago, you see, one Tibetan government official, monk official, really trusted official. Eventually he disrobed. So I had full trust with that officials. So their subject, they word, beauty, you come now. So then, since we know each other very well, so sometimes I tease him, or you disrobed, but your wife, not that much attractive. I tease him. Then his response, oh, physically not much attractive, but inner beauty is very, very good. then I have no more any argument. So like that, see, our face, human face, I think some special sort of ability to show our different emotion. Warm-heartedness, kindness, compassion. You see, shows. Oh, one time I met one Catholic monk in Barcelona. I think you may know Montserrat. Montserrat, there was one monastery or temple there. Many years ago, when I visited that monastery, and there's some sort of organizer told me one monk who spent in the mountain 5 years in hermit life, almost no hot meal, just tea and bread. So he came and we met. Little bit sort of strange thing. His English, very broken English, worse than me. So then I am more proud to use my broken English talk with him. So then I asked him, I was told you spent 5 years in hermit life. And I asked, what kind of practice during those years? He answered me, meditate on love. When he answered that, I noticed his eye, something special significance. So we have this sort of, our facial. Oh, one of my American sort of friend, one scientist, Paul Ekman. On the basis of facial expression. You see, I think he conclude 16 different emotions on the basis of facial expression. So in any way, the real inner beauty brings sort of happy face. That's the basis of our trust. Inner beauty. So trust, very important. We are a social animal. Friendship, highly necessary. In order to create friendship, trust is key factor. Friendship due to money, due to power is temporary. But friendship, trust. Trust comes if you show them your sincere concern about their well-being, then trust comes. So we love friend. We need friend. But sometimes we feel, oh, with money, you may get more friend. With power, more get friend. These friends, actually, friend of power, friend of money. When your fortune goes that way, these friends come. When your fortune goes that way, these friends no longer come. So these are not genuine human friend. Genuine human friend is entirely based on love, not money, not power, like that. So since we are social animal, no matter how one individual very powerful, but his or her survival entirely depends on the community. So community is source of our survival, our happiness. So respect them, show them your sincere feeling. So therefore, now I committed, not only just myself, number of scientists and number of educationists. Now we have sort of, because of the common view, in modern time, we should pay more attention in education field about inner value. Strictly according to a secular way, not based on religion, just our common experience and common sense and scientific finding. So we are working that. So now, warm-heartedness from birth we already have. Now we should use our intelligence, cooperate with that nature positive sort of factor. Then we can promote human compassion. Now today's world, these inner value, I think, highly relevant. People, you see, try to reduce problem, paying more attention about weapon and making divisions is the source of further problems. I think in order to achieve genuine peaceful world, eventually, I think we should imagine, we should pray, demilitarized world. And any problem come, we must try to solve through understanding, through talk, through dialogue. So these days I often is telling, in order to create peaceful century, this century should be century of dialogue. In order to carry meaningful dialogue, you must respect their interest, their right, and some kind of compromise, spirit of compromise. So one side victory, one side defeat, impossible. Whole, so everything interdependent. Now today's world, the global warming and the global economy. Now diagonal boundary, religious boundary with different religious faith is not much relevant. We have to think humanity. So therefore, now key factor for happier 21st century and happier humanity, now we need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings and strong sense of one human community on this planet, in this planet. So that I always talk. So that we can promote through education, as I mentioned. So we already working like Emory University in America, and also you see some organization in this country, some individual, of course. Now really we are working. Now last few years we already sort of produce some sort of paper, some draft or curriculum like that. So I think within this year we may ready to produce some draft about curriculum, secular ethics like that. Then another thing I want to tell you, that is when we firstly came to India in 1959, our main concern is how to preserve our knowledge and including our language. So at that time, Pandit Nehru really immense help with long-sighted. So the early refugee life, our main concern is how to preserve. Now gradually, in the 70s and 80s, Oh, sorry. So in 80s, now I realize, the knowledge which we kept over 1,000 years, originally come from India, Nalanda masters. So besides religion, besides Buddhism, psychology and logic and certain philosophy, which is similar, quantum physics. The Indian, the concept about essence of quantum physics, 2,000 years already developed. Raja Ramana, I think you know, late Raja Ramana, once told me, quantum physics in the West, something new. But in this country, he found 2,000 years ago that concept already developed in this country. He found Nagarjuna's text, that concept. So like that, you see, these are your knowledge, ancient Indian knowledge. 8th century, Tibetan emperor invited one great scholar, a monk of Nalanda, Shankarakshita. He invited to Tibet. He introduced Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition. Nalanda tradition, not just prayer or these ritual things, but a lot of philosophical sort of explanation and system of human mind, human psychology, and extensively use logic, pramana. So therefore, say 80s, then I found, the knowledge which we kept in Tibet 1,000 years, through serious sort of study, at least 20, 30 years study. So now I found this knowledge now not only one ancient Indian knowledge, but also relevant to today's world. Therefore, the last 30 years, more than 30 years, serious discussion with modern scientists, mainly cosmology, neurobiology, and physics, especially quantum physics, then psychology. I notice many scientists really showing eagerness to learn these sort of different sort of information like that. So then, now I fully convinced now these ancient Indian knowledge which we kept till now, I think now time come to share Indian original sources. So I usually describe Indian historically our guru. We are Chela. I also is mentioning, we not only Chela, but also quite a reliable Chela. Isn't it? So 1,000 years. Your own guru's own land, not much sort of ups and downs, and now Nalanda institution just ruined. Some pigeons there, go fly here and there like that. Nothing. So all this knowledge we kept 1,000 years. Now time come, this knowledge revival in this country, so that I think India have this sort of potential combination, modern education and ancient Indian knowledge combine these two things so that not only bring physical comfort, modern education, technology, science these bring us physical comfort, economic development, modernization. Wonderful. We need. Meantime, ancient Indian knowledge bring healthy mind, peaceful mind. So today's world need using these knowledge. So therefore, now one of my sort of commitment is not only myself, but many, over 1,000 monk students who have this knowledge. Now, you should use their knowledge in order to revive this ancient your knowledge. Not religion, not Buddhism, but psychology, physics, and then kasa, logic. These things should consider as an academic subject. Like that. So, I think only this country, India, have this potential. No other country. Like that. So that I want to share with you. And then, lastly, time always moving. Never stand still. So past is past. Nobody can change past. The future is still open. So I usually make distinction. Generation of 20th century, generation of 21st century. Now, my generation, I think you also, our generation belongs to 20th century. So that century is gone. Now, 21st century, just the beginning of 21st century. So if we make certain effort now with vision, then remaining I would say the decades of this 21st century can be more peaceful, more compassionate. Finally, India, most populated democratic country, ancient country, you can make certain significance for better world, more compassionate world. So that's please keep in your mind the younger generation of this country, a generation of 21st century. And of course, now we are talking humanity, not much differences, whether European, whether Indian, whether African, whether Chinese, whether Japanese, we are same human being. We share same planet. We have to live together. So future of the world, entire 7 billion human beings shoulder. So that I want to share. When you introduce me, I am head of temporal and spirituality. I want to make correction. Yes, historically, at least last 400 years. 4 centuries since 5th Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama institution become head of both temporal and spirituality. Now this monk, more, more scientific, or I don't like old system. So therefore, as soon as I reach, even when I take the responsibility about the temporal power, I start reform committee, some change. Then after 59, when we reach 59, 1 year I spent in Mussoorie. Once we start work for democratization. So then eventually, 2001, we already achieved elected political leadership. Then my position is semi-retired position. Now 2011, I totally retired. So no longer, because of the temporal leader.
Your Holiness, the Dalai Lama never retires.
Kasa. Okay. Yes, I cannot retire from Dalai Lama-ship.
Yes.
But temporal power, I can retire like that. So therefore, I truly now become a simple Buddhist monk. Simple Buddhist monk also is one practitioner of Buddhist monk, and I feel really proud. I'm one of the students of Nalanda Masters or complicated philosophy or complicated sort of thinking. So therefore, as a student of these Nalanda Master, I really now convinced some of their sort of knowledge, I think very, very relevant to today's world. So you are the master. You are the original owner of this knowledge. So please pay more attention. Now some questions.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness, for your wise words. You've touched countless lives and you've uplifted the spirits of all those who are seated in this hall and outside. So thank you very much for your simple words of compassion, love, and wisdom. Now, with your permission, I'd like to ask a few questions that were collected in the boxes that were placed at the entrance from members of the audience earlier today. I have a very simple question on forgiveness first, Your Holiness. Buddha said, when you forgive, you heal. And when you let go, you grow. One may understand it and really want to forgive and let go.
Yes.
But as a human being, you're unable to do so. What prevents us from forgiving and letting go to move on?
One of my friend, I think in Australia. Oh, sorry.
Just bear with him. The volume will be heard. Just a minute.
One of my friend in Australia, his own experience. One day, his car, something, because of the car, scratched his neighbor. So he feel very angry. Then, after a few days, he visit that family and express forgiveness. As soon as he done that, he feel much happier, he told me.
Will that happen in Delhi, sir? It never happens in Delhi. If you scratch somebody's car in Delhi, you will get beaten up.
You cannot say Delhi people whole. I think there must be, as a human society, there must be wonderful people and some wicked people also there.
So what is it? So what is it that prevents you, Your Holiness? What is it that prevents you?
I think you come across more negative people because of. Then I have to investigate. But your own nature.
So Dalai Lama, sir, the question is, what prevents you from forgiving people? What is it that one element?
Lack of far-sightedness and lack of courage. Courage brings warm-heartedness. And then far-sightedness brings by because of the brain, as I mentioned earlier. So look, today, as I mentioned earlier, or already mentioned, you see the so-called very bad sort of troublemaker or very bad because of the enemy, still human being. That enemy from birth not become your enemy, but due to certain sort of circumstances and certain causes become enemy. So there's always possible, you see, create certain positive condition, his or her attitude will change.
Correct. We have one more question. How do we raise our children so that they have the discretion to choose wisely? This is Shivanshi Pathak. Shivanshi, are you here? So her question is, how do we raise our children so that they have the discretion to choose wisely?
Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, you see, parent should provide maximum love and spend more time with children. One occasion in Delhi, one sort of interfaith meeting, Dr. Karan Singh beside me. Of course, since 1956, Buddha Jayanti celebration, we've become very close friends. So that day, you see, he just sit beside me. So then I just half teasing him. I expressed, you are son of Raja. So from childhood, you see, a special care. Me, just poor peasant son or child. So when I was young, till I think 5 years, you see, my mother, there's nothing, play or toys, nothing. My mother always carried me on her shoulder when she working in a field or look after animals. She always bring me, go like that. So then I teach him, I'm just poor villagers because of the son. But as far as receiving mother's affection, mother's own milk, I'm more fortunate than you. The Raja, the son of Raja, I think other people take care. And mother's own milk may not, I think, sufficiently, you see. Yes, I teach him like that. So now scientists also say mother's milk very sort of important for a child. You see, after born, the child, each month, they need certain different protein or something. So by nature, in mother's milk, these automatically come. So feeding mother's own milk are very important. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you see, physical touch is very crucial, very, very crucial factor for proper development of child's brain. So you spend more time with child and then eventually join school. Now school, the education must include, say, about education, inner value. Then a child, as it can be, because of the healthy human being, more compassionate human being. So education is the key factor. Then family level, of course, usually is a mother really taking care. This is biological factor, like that. That's my view.
Your Holiness, to what extent can an individual be called wise? How do individuals get wisdom?
Study. Oh. And one important thing is we call analytical meditation, vipassana.
Vipassana.
Analyze, analyze, analyze. There's a logical approach. It's always to analyze. So Nalendra Master, even you see, they reject some Buddha's own word. If you accept this sort of teaching, this word, it goes against, or it creates contradiction with reason. So, the follower of Nalendra tradition, we should pay more attention about reason rather than faith. This Buddha also, you see, Buddha himself made clear, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So many Nalendra masters, like Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, and Buddha Balida, and Chandakirti, you see, these actually reject some Buddha's own sort of word, some sutra. They reject. You cannot accept that like that. So investigation is very, very important. So that helps the proper development of our intelligence. So therefore I mentioned the pramana, logic, is very, very useful, very important. Just blindly accept our faith
is not.
You see, the potential of our brain will not go, will not grow.
Correct.
So, with little sort of skepticism, of course, Kasoda, unbiased, any sort of faith, you should take Kasoda. You should not take for granted. Investigate. That's very important. Also, Nalendra tradition, our tradition which comes from Nalendra, firstly, we memorize root text. Then, every word explained by teacher. According, many cases, Nalendra master's commentary. Then including some Tibetan master's commentary. Then we use extensively through debate in courtyard, debate courtyard. So that's our way to sharpening our mind.
Correct. Your Holiness, I have a question from Vipin Chopra's wife, Anita Chopra, who's here.
Yes.
Her question, she's a very well-known teacher and very accomplished principal of school, and she's on her verge now to get bigger and better positions. So Anita's question is, people think that when you're compassionate and kind, they take it as a sign of weakness.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you view that? Do you think that being kind is being weak?
Then you should be more angry person.
That is bad for me.
Then firstly, more quarrel with your husband.
He's worried now.
So today's your friend, then gradually remain more distance. So finally, you yourself become loser. You see, there's a certain cause you feel angry. I think that's why our society, culture, because materialistic culture, see, for making money, you need more tough. And a political leader, more tough. Like that. So I think people get that kind of impression. They're not properly thinking. So, of course, some cases you need tough decision. But with wisdom, not by anger. Analyze the situation. Now, this time, this case, you need more harsh sort of measures or response. You can take with wisdom. And also here you can combine compassion, sense of concern of those troublemaker. If you let their wrongdoing or, for example, take advantage on you, if you let them carry, eventually spoil them. So out of sense of concern of their well-being, try to utilize certain method to stop. Out of compassion, with wisdom. So same effect, much better effective than decision taken by anger. Anger brings some extra energy, but that energy is blind energy. I think one example, I always see telling the example, 1957, 58, one driver we hired from Kalimpong. So he very angry person, easily lose anger. So one day, repairing a car from underneath, so he lay down and doing something. Then somehow his head hit. So he lost anger. Then further do that. Bang, bang. What use? So anger brought some kind of energy, but that energy is blind energy. Okay, like that.
Your Holiness, just two small questions. One, as a Dalai Lama, your duties are set out for you.
What?
As a Dalai Lama, you have a set number of duties that you have to do. This is decided by you or the people around you. As a layperson, we all make lists of things to do. Do you also have things that you need to achieve and do every day?
Of course, when I was young, carry study, then time fix. And one sort of lesson morning, one lesson afternoon. So afternoon lesson about 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. Can you hear?
Yes, you can. 3 o'clock. He's speaking loudly. Please bear with him. Yeah. Go carry on.
Okay. About 3 o'clock, my lesson with my tutor. So around 2 o'clock, and I feel sky become more dark. Like that. I was very lazy student. So sometimes you say, my tutor kept one whip to threaten me. So at that time, this is a sort of time fixed like that. Then gradually, I become refugee, came India, no longer any protocol, no longer any sort of formality.
Restriction.
So I really get the sort of feeling of freedom like that. Then I think worst thing, since 1951 till 59, early part of 59, I also learned how to act hypocrisy. With Chinese officials, when we discuss, we often say, "Oh, wonderful, wonderful, yes, yes, yes." But internally, a lot of sort of complaint. So I liberated that kind of practice as soon as I reached India. Then no longer practice of hypocrisy. So So now, I really enjoy nothing fixed away, like that. Of course, daily, my program, mainly meet people, talk. It seems some help. So that is the way to make a contribution. As a Buddhist monk, Buddhist practitioner, we always pray for entire sentient being. And my daily sort of prayer, one prayer is, so long space remain, so long sentient beings suffering remain, I will remain in order to serve. Like that. So therefore, you see, one's own body, speech and mind dedicated well-being for other. But then practical level, when we pray entire sentient being, including other galaxies, we have nothing to do, just prayer. Even within this planet, limitless animals, fish, birds, nothing can be done. About 2 years ago, I was in Mayo Hospital, some treatment, few weeks there. Last year. So in that place where I live, some deers there, beautiful. But when I look at them, I feel very sad. Nothing can be done. They are animal. So, only possibility to help something, only 7 billion human beings. When person pray for entire sentient being and practical, realistically, only 7 billion of human beings on this planet. So therefore, now human intelligence, you see, we have this sort of capacity and human nature, compassion, these things there. Now important, or some way to help them is explain about these things. So therefore, meeting like this, I feel part of my practice, serving, helping other people, according to my own experience. When I give talk, I never consider I'm something special person. No, nothing. I think my niece now telling me you are not a special person. It's the same way. So that's one advantage. Physically or emotionally we are same, mentally same. Therefore, some my experience can be useful to you. If something very special, some people call me God King. Nonsense. The other day in Ladakh, so one small girl asked me, "Are you God?" So I really now feel sort of satisfaction, meet people and share my own experience and listen their complaint, their questions. So that's the way to use my time properly. Right? What? Yes. Hmm?
How old you are? How old you look at you?
If you judge my face, what do you think? Old or age? Kasa.
Thank you so much. I don't think there is age as a factor with the Dalai Lama. He is everlasting.
Now, actually, I born 1934. 35. So now, 82-year-old. But my brain, because of training, extensively use logic. So my mind quite sharp. Not because of Dalai Lama, but because of training.
I think all of you will agree that His Holiness is the youngest that you have on stage right now.
Yes. What? Karsa.
How can I
become a person of value where I can encourage others who are break depression, who doubt their own potentiality, who doubt their own capability? How can I encourage
이것이 스스로 샘슈 배차치. 스스로 내 밤에 저기 샘슈딩 주치 누나는
question.
The question was, how can I encourage others to come out of their depression?
As I mentioned earlier, now for example, myself, age, I think firstly age 5, I come from my birthplace and to Lhasa. Then basically separated from my family. Then age, 16,
Yes.
I lost my freedom with entire Tibetan people.
Correct.
Then age 24, 25, I lost my own country. Now 58 years passed. And meanwhile, in our own country, a lot of sort of suffering. I think over 5,000 monasteries, temples destroyed. And I think nearly 1 million people, some killed, some due to starvation, died untimely. So a lot of sort of problem. But so I always look, different aspect. Now, anyway, we become refugee. Sad. Anyway, we got new opportunity. I often telling people, if I still remain in Lhasa, in Podala, I think this so-called 14th Dalai Lama still remain more orthodox. Come to India, become refugee, and meet a variety of people, and including scientists. So, in spite of my age, my mind more young, more open-minded.
Yes.
And Tibetan also, Tibetan refugee. We lost our own country. Very sad. However, we got a lot of opportunity to learn from new things. So, any event, one way, bad, but same way, some aspect brought new opportunity, new positive things. That's always there. So person, age-wise, is he getting older? Yes, you may have some complaint, oh now some problem here, here and there. But you gain more and more experiences. The young generation, less experience, but full of energy. So each one have some positive things there. So if you think only negative things, always negative, that also through one angle, then your frustration increase. Same event, look from, as I briefly mentioned earlier, same event, same sort of tragic thing, look from different angle. They may bring some positive sort of opportunity or good things, like that. And firstly, I think we can see generation in Europe, also Japan, the older generation, more tough, because a lot of suffering. Younger generation, more spoiled, like that. So therefore, you see, when we face some unfortunate, some problem, you should feel, oh, this is opportunity, my practice, determination, and patience. Like that, thinking, use our human intelligence more properly. That is the only way to keep your enthusiasm. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness, for your thoughts, which are very simple and achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness the Dalai Lama.